All right, everybody, it's that time again for the Political Pulpit. I'm your host, Josh Navarrete, and it's good to be back on the program. We are going over Trump in China, aliens. That I guess there was a briefing for pastors that we're just learning about. We're going to break that down and talk about the truth when we come right back. Here we go.
We pray for love and unity, and that the church would find new zeal and commitment to the mission and purpose of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart.
On the program, we are still working on a better schedule. I promise you we'll be back a whole lot more. But while you're here, hit that like button, hit the subscription button, or subscribe if you haven't done so already. And what really helps is if you hit the notification bell. That's really what sets this off. So we want to thank you for joining us because we got a lot to talk about today. We're just covering the news. We're going to do a little bit more faith and biblical foundational stuff in the future, but we're just trying to figure this out. So thank you for joining us. All right. Trump walks like an emperor. There's AI, aliens, national defense. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to break through. And we want to walk those different stories down with you. But first, let's get some of our assets up here because I am shooting this show today by myself. It's okay. We are doing the best we can, but we're happy that you are here. So we want to make sure that you get the news from www.politicalpulpit.com/news. And you can do Political Pulpit /partner. There's a lot of things that you can do to keep things rolling. And that's what we want to see from you guys. All right, let's just see. I'm just getting things set up here. Sorry about that. I wanted to hurry up because it's getting late. I know this is a late night broadcast or the night owl broadcast, as we call it, but I want to at least get some more of what's important, I think. First things first, the whole alien conversation, which we're really going to break down soon by the end of the show, or we'll spend some time on it. And I think it puts a lot of questions in Christians' minds because they're like, well, wait a second. I thought they were demons and not actual aliens. And other questions are like, well, wait, how are they using spacecraft and things like that? That's exactly what I want to break down. There's some things that are really important for you to know. I think you guys need to realize the spiritual implications behind these conversations. And the pastors that came out, which we know some of them, and we really love their ministry. I mean, there's some people out there that are really good people. I just was pumping the brakes. Didn't even want to talk about it really because I felt like this is such a crazy distraction. This is such a crazy thing that's happening that I don't want you all to feel or think that now the government is officially calling pastors into the White House and they are talking to them about a huge release. Well, that's not actually what happened. And I hate to be the guy to say this when I know some people that, they're friends. But the truth is, some former government people came to the table, brought everyone to some sort of meetup. And there was a congressperson that came out and said some of the same things, which if they briefed them that way, it's kind of like you can't talk about classified information if you're in office. So I really was pumping the brakes because I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? And what's the purpose? Well, they called in these pastors and showed them some evidence that something was about to happen. And it was like days before they declassified some of the findings of the UAPs, and they're staying away from UFOs and calling them UAPs. Blah 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 blah. I feel like there are things that we're trying to be distracted from because of stuff that's really about to go down. We really need to pay attention to the world stage. We really need to pay attention to the market and the economy. we really need to pay attention to the rest of the world and what's happening, because from a biblical perspective, what's really going on is the unification of certain nations, the war in Iran, the Strait of I can't think of the word, Hormuz, the strait that's been blockaded, the battle for oil. Cuba is a big problem. Cuba is actually in a blackout right now because they are no longer able to get oil. Russia has left. So there are people that are not eating, they're suffering. There is a huge, huge problem in Africa right now with Nigeria, meaning Christians are being heavily persecuted, murdered, burned alive, kidnapped, enslaved. These are big issues that are happening across the world, and they're pulling in pastors saying, this is going to be a huge, huge deal. Now, do I think the conversation of aliens and UFOs and demons and angels is a big deal? Yeah, I do think it's something we need to talk about, or, keep on our radar, because, anytime the government tries to talk to you and tell you that there's something over here, you probably should look over there. And that's what we want you to do. Do us a favor. As you're listening to us, as you're watching, maybe you have us playing in the background, let us know. Get in the comments where you're watching from and shoot us some questions we want to answer. That way there is some interaction online, and we want to make sure we break through the algorithm. We've had a great increase in subscriptions, but now we've learned that, YouTube and these other platforms, they send out like less than 10% of the notifications, the push notifications that you're live, unless you do the notification bell. So do us a favor, hit that notification bell, jump in the comments, and it would really, really help us. All right. Thank you so much for that. Now let's get into what's I know we have this there. There's a lot going on in California. I don't know if you guys have heard, but in California is this running for mayor that's happening. As a matter of fact, Mayor Bass has decided not to run for re-election. Makes you wonder why, because it's been a horrific mess, to say the least. So there's a person that was running. It's just notified. My wife was telling me the other day, you remember Spencer Pratt? And I was like, I don't remember who that is. And apparently they were on, when we were teens or young people, they were actually on TV a lot. They lived in the Palisades, and his house, along with other houses, were burnt down in this big fire, and they're unable to rebuild because the mayor is absolutely incompetent. And, no big surprise there. We all knew what California is going through right now, but now he's running a campaign that is absolutely stellar because he's using AI to run these ads, which is, you kind of have to think like AI is taking over in so many areas, which is a scary thing. But I've always said those that mastered AI are going to win. And he's running a campaign by making these AI videos, and they are awesome. They're huge. They're doing a really good job, and he's making a big ruckus, and he's making a big impact on this campaign. So let's see how that looks. I'm going to put this up for us here. There it is. All right, let's go ahead and play that.
Daddy!
You were in a coma. 3 years. MacArthur Park, right? Where are all the needles and homeless people?
The mayor fixed it.
Wait, isn't this downtown? Where are all the tents? The piss and the shit and the criminal drug addicts?
Sorry about
The
that.
mayor fixed it.
They rebuilt the Palisades? How?
The mayor fixed it.
Wow. Karen Bass really turned the city around.
Karen Bass isn't the mayor anymore, honey.
Who's the mayor?
Spencer Pratt.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Spencer Pratt, he's got a bunch of those. And I think he's doing a great job because he's painting the picture. He doesn't really have to paint the picture. He probably writes the prompts and says, show current LA and its homelessness and its tore up city community areas that are overrun by homelessness, drugs, alcohol, needles, cities, what are the tent cities that are everywhere downtown. I mean, it's been like this for a long time. It's really bad now. And yeah, that's crazy. He's doing a great job. Our beloved Bishop Bartlett, he's watching from Kansas. Good to see you, brother. We're praying for you. He says it's so sad to see what's happening in Africa. Going to Africa, and he's been going to Africa for 30 years. Christians in Nigeria, we must pray for them daily. Absolutely. And the country, the world is being shielded from that information. But we literally have boots in the ground that are reporting the tremendous losses to the Christian people by, let's just be honest, it's Muslim extremists. They are terrorists. Their goal, their belief system is so extreme, they think that they need to annihilate what they call the infidels, which are Christians, people that don't believe in Muhammad. But the truth is, Muhammad is dead. Jesus has died and died for our sins, but he has risen again so that your hands and you and I can be free. And we need to pray for those people because it's absolutely terrible and sad to see what's happening. And the rest of the world is turning a blind eye to it. So we need to continue to pray for those people. All right. There is a story by a video that was put out by the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. You guys can see it here. America's national defense. This investment guarantees the United States maintains overwhelming strength and unmatched deterrence against any adversaries for generations to come. That's the $1.5 trillion investment in generational down payment on America's national defense. The goal is not to weaken our defense, but to strengthen it. That is the difference between other administrations and this one. We are seeing an emphasis on protecting our country. That's exactly what it should be. All right, let's get into what happened today. Well, it was yesterday because they are living in the future right now. But take a look at this video from the White House as President Trump was welcomed to China. America's strength is on the world stage. We never saw this in previous, well, not to this degree. President Trump literally walked on stage like an emperor. Take a look. That's such an incredible sight. I think, it looked like there was a strong emphasis. There was a very strong emphasis on creating a better relationship between Trump and China. But they laid out the red carpet for President Donald Trump. Now, remember, President Trump has been very critical and challenging China in so many different ways, especially economically, and now through the oil from Iran. And they would love for the strait to be reopened again, but that conversation came up, as a matter of fact, and it looks like President Trump may have extended an olive branch, as so did China. President Xi made a point to say a better union between China and America is better for the world. He even said that if there was something, there was a discord or a division between the two nations, or even fighting, it would be bad for both. Now, what does that mean according to, all of our end time folks, according to all of our book of Revelation and Daniel and the signs of a new world order? Could this be the start of a new world order? Could this be a start of a one world government where all these major players come together to decide on a union that could develop that one world government? They already got the HWO, the WHO, excuse me, the World Health Organization, excuse me, I'm tripping over my words today, which we've pulled out of because we don't trust them. They've tried to already put, red flags with this whole hantavirus thing, which we'll get to in a little bit, and come to find out that it's not even that good at transmitting to other people, other humans, unless you spent a long period of time with that person. Even the Andes variant is still very difficult to transmit to other humans. But that's not the point, because we don't trust them. But what if the countries like China and Russia and America, what about if North Korea come to an agreement and it looks like a time of peace, and it looks like there's a period or season of everybody's getting along, but then the ball drops and something changes and we see more fighting? Well, I believe that we could see a period of peace, because it seems though that people are extending an open hand to President Trump. And this is something we haven't seen in a very, very long time. As a matter of fact, President Trump going to, I think, what do they call this place? It's like Heaven's Gate or something like that. I can't remember what they call this. But yeah, it's a big deal that the president was walking through that area in China. I don't think it's been done since like Theodore Roosevelt. That's a big deal. This is what I mean. When you got pastors coming out saying, aliens and demons and UFOs, well, what's really going on behind the scenes? What's going on with our markets? What's going on with the stock market? What's going on with the viruses that are just starting to stir up again? What's going on with Congress? And we're getting midterms ready. Like, are they taking care of our voting process in America? Are they passing the right laws? What laws are being pushed through? Well, we're looking this way. What are they doing that way? The people of God must stay vigilant and aware of what's happening. What is happening this weekend is this: Rededicated 250 is coming to life in the heart of Washington, D.C. That is this, this one. It says, Rededicate 250 is coming to life in the heart of Washington, D.C., and it's going to be one of the most unforgettable moments leading into America's 250th anniversary. The stage is up. The National Mall is transforming. History is calling, and you want to get there in RSVP. That's happening as we speak. And look, we've been asked to get people to DC. And I think if you can go, you should go. It's a monumental time. This is a time for prayer, rededicating our country, and making sure that God is represented and acknowledged, that it's in God we trust. One nation, under God. This country, founded on biblical principles, Judeo-Christian values. You don't have to like it, but it's the truth. And I hope you're open to it. All right, let's cover a little bit more of what's happened to there in China. This is a little bit more of what we saw today. Take a look.
President in 50 years to walk through the Temple of Heaven. Ford was the last one in. The Confucian Temple, built in the 1400s during the
Okay, I said Roosevelt. It was Ford. Sorry.
Ming Dynasty. Only the emperor was
Working
allowed
on
to
my
step
history.
inside. It's where he prayed for good weather. Trump, a Protestant, went inside and made it rain. More on that later. First, the party started at China's Great Hall, right across the street from Tiananmen Square. Trump wasn't in a tank. He was in the Beast, and pulled up to shake hands with Xi. And it was a long shake. 15 seconds. Some friendly patting. Both men stood still. No one leaned in. Who won? Some call it a draw, but Xi did release first. And then Trump hit him with a little pat in the back. Body language experts say that was a power move. The fashion police noticed that POTUS rocked a red tie, which experts say aligned visually with the dominant ceremonial palette of China. Xi wore a purple tie to evoke the symbolism of the purple forbidden city, the center of Chinese power. Didn't see a lot of hostility. Diplomats on the ground actually say there was a lot of chemistry. Xi, who tends to be more reserved in public, put on a show. The Chinese honor guard played the Star-Spangled Banner, but the president was most impressed by this.
I think I was particularly impressed by those children. They were happy. They were beautiful. The military is obvious. It couldn't be better, but those children were amazing.
People say the ceremony.
Pretty amazing moment. I mean, listen, China knows how to put on a good presentation for a world leader like President Donald Trump. So I thought that was incredible to see. They do have, one thing that you can see with China's culture is a very disciplined, it's an honor culture. And it's something that, man, I feel like America's losing with its children. And let's be honest, the culture that we've kind of fell prey to is video games, terrible music, just sexualizing women and giving into this evil and foul spirit of the age that is really trying to attack our children. And when I see that, I see children that look disciplined. There's a culture of honor that you can't take away from China. So that's one thing that I noted, or that I saw. So, I mean, even President Trump saw that for his own self and realized and recognized it. All right, let's keep it moving. Now, there was an interview by NBC, and it was with Secretary Rubio. The question is this: what exactly did President Trump ask President Xi for when it comes to Iran? And we knew Iran was going to come up. It's probably a very important conversation to have because China is affected by Iran and the oil that's not coming through. It would be really awesome if China would just buy from us if that was possible. And I think we would be happy. But anyway, who knows? Who knows why that all happens? I'm not an economist and I don't understand all things foreign relations, but this is a power play. And so it's important to answer and ask these questions and hear the president's answer. Take a look.
What exactly did President Trump ask President Xi for when it comes to Iran?
He didn't ask him for anything. I mean, we're not asking for China's help. We don't need their help.
But he raises the issue.
We raise the issue to make clear what our position is and to make it clear so they understand, because I mean, it's logical we would talk about it given how dominant that issue is. Our position is very clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And that's what they were on the verge of building a conventional capability where they had so many rockets, so many drones that you couldn't do anything against them. They would hide behind that conventional shield to do whatever they wanted with their nuclear program in the future. That's why the president chose to act. In response to that, Iran has decided that they're going to take an international waterway and turn it into theirs and charge tolls for it. We're not going to allow that to happen. And that's why there's a blockade. It's a direct result of what they've done.
What exactly did President Trump ask President?
So they were basically taking it to the consumer and doing tolls. By the way, maybe get rid of the tolls in America. Gosh, they're crazy. We don't have them in Arizona, but I know places like Texas, it's pretty expensive to drive on their tollways. But anyway, that's for another show. Okay, so that's the message is clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And people say, well, they didn't have it. They didn't have enriched uranium, blah, 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 blah. Well, yes, they did. and they can no longer access it or use it against us because that's what they would have loved to do. Also, Secretary Rubio says the Cuban people should know there's $100 million of food and medicine available for them right now, and the only reason it's not reaching them is because of the Cuban regime. Here's the other thing. What will America do with Cuba? Or are we going to be just worried about aliens and whatnot? Because this could be another issue. Just saying. Let's take a look. Sorry.
There's $100 million. By the way, we've given them humanitarian aid. After the hurricane, we provided them $6 million of humanitarian aid, $3 million of which was distributed, $3 million of which is still being held up, but is available for them. Now we're saying here's $100 million of humanitarian aid. So I don't know if they watch your broadcast in Cuba, but if they are, the Cuban people should know there's $100 million of food and medicine available for them right now. And the only reason it's not reaching the Cuban people is because of the regime.
Attached.
The only string attached is it has to be distributed by I don't want non-governmental organizations. This can't be humanitarian aid that the government steals for itself. There's $100 million, by the way.
And the other thing too is like I really hope they watch the fraud that happens when it comes to humanitarian aid, because a lot of these NGOs that get involved, man, it's such a money grab. But I'm believing that the government, our government's going to do the right thing. But it would be nice that Cuba would get on board and take care of its people. Don't know, not sure what's going to happen there, but it's something to stay aware and let's pay attention on what's going on there. All right, next. Oh. AOC. Gosh, I don't even want to show this, but it says this. People can't feed themselves, she says. AOC ripped the Trump administration over spending on the National Mall, reflecting pool, and the planned White House ballroom. Now, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. And if you know, let me know, because I literally thought that, what am I missing here? I thought that it was being paid for. Wasn't this being paid for by, private donors? Like, can anybody verify that? Because I could have swore this was being paid for by private donors. Help me out here. Let me know. Let me know what you guys know, because she's over here talking about that it's coming out of taxpayer. I mean, maybe some of it is. But she's saying that the overspending on the National Mall, reflecting pool, and the planned White House ballroom, arguing that Americans are struggling to afford groceries, rent, and mortgages. She called the priorities deeply off touch and insulting to everyday people. Let's dare hear her talk.
I think that people can't feed themselves. They're having a hard time affording their groceries. They're having an even harder time in a lot of ways affording their rent and mortgages. And why should this administration, and this president has openly said that he doesn't care or doesn't think about the financial situations of everyday Americans at all, then try to take $1 billion more out of our healthcare and put that towards a ballroom when people are already struggling. It's just deeply out of touch. I think it's insulting to everyday people who are trying to get by on an honest day's work. I think.
How about they take all the fraud that's happening in Minnesota and California with these governmental programs and give back to the American people? That would solve a lot of problems. That would help, I think, a lot of people. But that's never going to happen. Like I said, I was pretty positive that there was private donors building the ballroom. Could be wrong, unless there's something else I don't know about. You guys let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's what was happening. And she's basically gaslighting the American people, saying it's coming out of your pocket. There's a lot of programs. There's a lot of tax implications that are ripping people off. There's a lot of fraud that's happening as we speak that is ripping people off. Let's keep it moving. Oh, man, this is a good clip. Okay, so we have Representative Wesley Hunt talking about, well, he says this: slavery is over. Jim Crow is dead. Take a look.
I'm seeing a lot of talk from my colleagues on the left, too, as we shift toward this reinvigorated talk about Jim Crow and the past of this country. And as someone who is a direct descendant of a slave, as someone whose great-great-grandfather was born on a plantation, I can assure you slavery is over. Jim Crow is dead. When I go anywhere, I don't see any white-only signs. I don't, I promise you. I am a black man that represents a white majority district in Texas. The great-great-grandson of a man born on a plantation stands before you today as a proud conservative Republican from Texas, as a believer and follower in Christ, and as a believer in what this country can be if we allow equality for not just Muslim Americans, not just Buddhist Americans, but also Christian Americans like yourself. God bless you, young man. You give me a lot of hope for the future of this country. Thank you for having the courage to yield back the remainder of my time.
Well, there you go. I mean, how do I say this to not make people angry? I guess it doesn't matter. They're going to get angry anyways. The problem that I have, the biggest problem that I have with this conversation is that it develops a victimhood mentality for people of color. And there's many cultures that are like this. It's not just the black community. It's not just people in the black communities. There's people in the Hispanic community. Here, the Native American, the community as well, sometimes takes on this victim mentality that everything has been against them and still is, where this is the greatest time to ever be alive and to thrive and succeed in America. We are the most free nation. We have terrible sins, which as a nation, that's can't be ignored or forgotten, but we grow from them and move on from them. It just seems that there's a certain demographic of people and a political party that wants to remind everybody how oppressed they are and how everyone is against them and everything is formulated and designed so that you can fail. Or you could rise above it and thrive in a country like America and become the most successful person in your family. Yes, being a person of color. Yes, being a person that might look different from your colleagues, but you can still succeed. And you don't have to listen to those that tell you you are less than. And you don't have to listen to those that tell you because of your skin color, you will be behind. You don't have to be behind. God has created you in the likeness of his image so that you can do well, so that you can prosper, so that you can be anointed and appointed and do great works for the kingdom of God, which will spill over into your family, into your career, into your ministry. And it doesn't matter what color you are. Those days of slavery and oppression are gone. Do we have some work to do? I think so, but that's okay. We're going to do better. We are doing better. But if you continue to listen to those that are on the other side of the aisle when we talk in politics or the culture of oppression and victimhood, yeah, you're going to believe things to be a certain way. It's amazing to me that you can function and operate and do well in this country and in your workplace and still feel like, you're oppressed and slavery still exists and all those things. Listen, people are going to be people and they're sinful in nature. And there is going to be moments of racism or people preying on the weak or destroying different or talking about you or trying to destroy you. That happens in life, but it doesn't always have to be around you being a victim. And that's why I think this is an important message, because he's showing us that life doesn't have to be what the left says it has to be. Speaking of the left, take a look at this clip. Don't even want to show it. It says, all of their ideas are now like, should we dissolve the government, imprison our opponents, and seize every level of power in the country? We're the good guys. Remember, if we don't do this, the bad guys will win an election. Like they don't even talk about healthcare anymore. Pat Adams says Kamala Harris is now calling for Democrats to hold a no bad idea brainstorm where they discuss this, abolishing the Electoral College and packing the Supreme Court. I mean, the message is clear on that side of things, guys.
Bad ideas. A no bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it. And in that no bad ideas brainstorm, we talk about what we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College. We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court. We invite a conversation about multi-members districts. We talk about, that if we win the Senate, which we should and we will, then the Senate Judiciary Committee should have rules that they put in place. So when these people come before as nominees to the Supreme Court and lie, that they are held to account and consequence, not just that somebody goes on cable news and says they lied, but that there are rules in place to actually penalize people for lying to a Senate Judiciary Committee. That we agree.
It's all I could take, guys. Sorry, but this is what I propose. Kamala Harris, 2028. Do it. Make it happen. Make it happen. My goodness. All right. The CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. This is crazy. And seized boxes of documents related to the JFK assassination, MK Ultra, which a lot of people think that's a conspiracy, but it's an actual thing, and more. The Gabbard was going to declassify these things, and they took them. What is happening? Literally, what is happening? There's like a shadow government or something, right? There's got to be
just
something.
in, John. The CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Agents hauled out dozens of boxes, files on the JFK assassination and MK Ultra, the CIA mind control operation, which she was in the process of declassifying. Today's whistleblower said it during his deposition, and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna confirmed it moments ago.
The reason why this is troubling is, A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed.
And this just in, John. The CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office.
All right.
Agents hauled out dozens of boxes, files on the JFK assassination and MK Ultra, the CIA mind control.
There's aliens, guys. Remember, there's aliens. So all the pastors need to tell everybody that they're going to tell us about aliens, or the CIA's raiding Tulsi Gabbard's office. You see what I mean? There's like a lot of distractions here. I think it's important we stay focused. Do us a favor. If you're watching, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, share it, hit the like button. It would help us greatly. They don't like hearing voices like us. So the algorithm will get kind of stinky sometimes. So we kind of need your help. And we also haven't been putting out content as much because we've been busy remodeling. The set here is starting to grow, and so we need your help. All right, next one. This is another AOC. Why? Why do we have another AOC clip? Oh, that's why. Because AOC 2028. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get Kamala Harris and AOC in there. Well, it could be the running ticket. That'll be a lot of fun. New Yorkers are told this. Producer Brent. So they asked, basically they went around asking if she should run for president. I'm not even going to go full screen on this because I think it's terrible.
According to a new poll, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is leading in the 2028 Democratic primary for president. But do New York City residents even think that she should run?
No.
No, thumbs down.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so.
I'm from New Zealand. I've got no clue who AOC is.
We're asking people because she's leading in a new Atlas Intel poll.
That's too bad. She's too radical for anything.
She's got 26% above Buttigieg and Newsom.
Hold on. Let's take a look at that ticket or those possibilities. You got Buttigieg, however you say his name. You got Gavin Newsom, who's doing an amazing job in California. Come on, let's give him a round of... No, he's doing terrible. AOC, you got Kamala Harris, and man, oh, wow. Is that Jeffries I see? Wow. What a lineup, guys. What a lineup. Now, if this happens, we're in good shape. And if they win, that'd be terrible. But the other thing I want you guys to notice is like, you got New Yorkers saying, I don't think so, it'd be a bad idea. The problem is they don't listen to you. They kind of like put in who they want, just like they did with Harris. They just put her in there. She didn't have to win any votes. She just got in. That's probably what will happen. Don't even want to play any more of that. Oh, let's go back to Spencer Pratt. He's got another really cool video. He's knocking out of the park with these. It says Spencer Pratt is the single best campaigner of his generation. It's not even close. This may be the song of the summer. Now, by the way, you saw my Christian brothers and sisters. I don't know if this has any cuss words in it, so I apologize, Bishop, if you're still watching. Sorry, but here we go.
Everything is awful. Everything is hell when you're part of the scene. Karen Bass is awful and burning down our streets. Dirty needles, human waste. We just named two awful things: a stolen car, a burned down house. You know what's awful? Everything. Moms in shock, hit the locks. A camp of addicts down the block. Lots of tents, a very big mess. Awful scenes are not the best. Camps, traps, and crap, they're awful. Crack, smack, and shacks, they're awful. Slums, and scum, and bums, that's awful. Everything you see or smell or touch is awful. Karen Bass is awful. Everything is hell when you're part of her scene. Everything is awful. And she's killing our dreams. Wait, somebody's fighting back now. Standing up and taking flack now. Spencer Pratt lost everything. Watch the flames take everything. But instead of looking down, he's exposing this whole town, calling out the corrupt machine. Somebody's gotta clean this scene. Let's go! Truth, proof, and receipts. Not awful. Fight, light, and making things right. Not awful. One man, a plan, and he won't quit. Not awful. Spencer Pratt is done with all of this awful. Spencer Pratt is fighting. Everything gets better when you fight for the seed. Spencer Pratt is rising. He's gonna save LA's dreams. Everything gets better when somebody stands up and refuses to quit. Spencer Pratt is fighting. And we're done with all of this shit.
All right. I almost stopped it right before the cuss word. I'm sorry. Man, that was 2 minutes long. It didn't even seem that long. That's how good the videos are. That's crazy. I mean, the thing is about this is that he doesn't even have to show his face. He's a Lego. That's going to get a lot of people's attention, and it is. I mean, they're covering him on TMZ, giving him all the press. He said something funny at the end of it. He was like, make sure you guys use better pictures. Well, there you go. He's a Lego man. That's cool. And like I said, he's getting a ton of attention. Oh, man, what is this one? Okay, this says Jennifer Garner reading a book called Secret Pizza Party to a group of kids at a Save the Children event. All right, should we really pull up like the FBI symbols for pedophilia and other things that were happening? The code words and code images that they use to catch these predators, pizza being one of them. And you got this whole thing from an actress out of Hollywood saying secret pizza party. I'm not even going to play it because it's just stupid. And I don't trust Hollywood one bit. And yeah, whatever. Let's continue to pray for children and make sure that God just delivers those that are in trouble, because it's just disgusting. And I don't know why they would even, knowing that's the case, like, you could use McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, or you can write, I'll tell you a better idea, and it just hit me. Dr. Ben Carson has a program called Little Patriots, and I'm hoping, matter of fact, I'm hoping to get him on interview, and I think I can get it done, to talk about his children's book, the Little Patriots series, where it teaches our kids, which we're going to carry it at Redeemer Christian Academy, on what it's like to worship a God like Christ Jesus and be in favor of your country. It's God and country. It's such a good good program for children. I'd say I would encourage you to go look for it and buy his books. All right, let's do a few more and we'll call it a night. Christian Collins says Hakeem Jeffries claims Republicans are the party of defund the police. That's hilarious because there are 173 Democrats who voted this week against supporting law enforcement. And then every Democrat voted against the no tax on overtime for officers. Does Hakeem Jeffries actually think the men and women in the blue believe the lies? Take a look.
As opposed to doing what Republicans have done, which is to defund the police and rip away grant funding for local law enforcement. That's the here and now.
They just gaslight everybody. It's literally crazy. New to TMZ, caught Spencer this is the Spencer Pratt staying at a hotel instead of a trailer. So Pratt calls in. To be clear, this is where I live. That's where Mayor Bass burned down my house. That's where I will live until I have a new house. Take a look.
They change the rules until they win again. And the Einstein in charge, the woman who couldn't win Pennsylvania with Beyonce and $1 billion.
This is a moment where there are no bad ideas. A no bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it. We talk about the idea.
A hotel instead of a
Here you go.
trailer after the city let his house get barbecued. What a monster. Pratt torched the narrative. Watch.
The campaign ad certainly made it seem that you were living in that trailer. It was a high point of the commercial, but you're at the Hotel Bel Air. So kind of undo that for us.
No, to be clear, that is where, excuse me, that is where I live. That's where Karen Bass, Mayor Bass, burned down my house. That is where I will live until I have a new house.
TMZ kept pushing, and Spence let him have it.
Are you saying you live in that trailer?
I don't live anywhere, is what I'm saying. I don't have a house. They burned it down, Harvey. I don't have a house.
But why not say that?
There's nothing there, Harvey. It's dirt lot. I had to have it craned in to the lot.
Democrats are hung up on where Spencer sleeps, but he says, joke's on you. I don't.
For these people that want to focus on where I sleep at night, first off, I don't even sleep. I get 4 hours of sleep because I'm fighting these corrupt freaking politicians all day long.
No one gets a full night's sleep in Karen Bass's LA. Got riots, shootouts, fire alarms. But the mayor wants to lecture Spencer on safety.
When your messages are so hateful or when you demonize people, then you do provoke people who are unstable. And you can.
Does she really? I mean, CNN carrying this, like, this is what we've been saying. And there's clips of her and others inciting violence against Republicans and President Trump. Oh, yeah. There's been several attempts on his life because of the very thing. And she's mad because there's a commercial about tomatoes. There's been actual commercials and clips of killing figures that look like President Trump, chopping. I mean, do we not forget the comedian? I can't remember her name. What is her name? Carrying a beheaded figure that looked like President Trump. It's like they
jeopardize people's safety.
The person who almost died was Pratt because Bass emptied the reservoirs. A campaign ad's not going to kill anybody. A fire will. Here's Pratt describing what it was like coming face to face with the monster under LA's bed.
I could hear her voice and it was like out of a scary movie. So I'm thinking, this is surreal because, you know, I've never been near a real life monster. And she looks over at me and she goes, "You've done this before." And I go, "A debate?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "No, it's my first one." She's like, "Oh, your first one like this?" I'm like, "No, my first debate ever." She's like, "You didn't do them at the university?" I was like, "No, I didn't do debates at the university." She's like, "Oh, wow." And I'm thinking to myself, lady, I'm going to eat you alive.
Spence was suspicious, so he set a trap.
I saw that she was looking at my notepad.
Yeah.
And so to throw her off, I just start writing my kids' names and my wife's name, my parents' name, just to like confuse her if she's trying to cheat off my notepad.
And we asked Bass for comment, and her office said, quote, "Nobody's trying to cheat off of Spencer Pratt's notes unless they want to fail." That wouldn't kill her to sneak a peek. The Pratt factor's working. Undecided voters.
All right. Anyways, I think this is a great campaign. I'm curious to see how he does because, listen, I didn't remember who he was until my wife told me. He does look a lot different than I remember him, but time has passed. He looks like he's working hard. We'll just put it like that. He looks like he's working hard, and that's great. All right. Mayor Johnson just said incarceration is not a solution to crime. El Salvador would like to have a word because their crime has gone way down.
Jail,
you can see it
but
there.
we had 800, 900 folks being killed every year because of gun violence, right? So there's no direct correlation. We've had a time in our city's history where.
All right, let's keep it going. Let's see. Jensen Huang reveals AI's biggest problem. The amount of energy that we need for computing is probably 1,000 times more than we currently have. I believe Elon's working on some sort of like solar energy in space. What I can't stand is these data companies coming to Arizona. We don't have, excuse my language. We do not have any more water for these people. Go to like the edge of the ocean where you can take some ocean water, you can desalt it and then use that water. They come to the desert. They come to the desert, use up all our water, and then they want to tax us. The state wants to put up the energy costs and usage of water. That maybe is not applying to this, but it just reminded me of how crazy it is lately. All right, remember when they assured you repeatedly that the mRNA injections were safe and effective, even though no long-term safety data even existed to back up that assertion. It's all the way down 96%, 95%, 94%, 93%, 92%, 89%, and it just goes down and down, all the way down. We tried to tell you. I hope you guys don't take me off YouTube, but we tried to tell you. Keeps going down. Let's see, the last number that we have is 58% effective, 56% effective. It's below 50%, all the way down to 42% effective. Now I see headlines. Boosters, 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 just to make it effective. Man, they played us. All right. Last thing I say on aliens. This proves my point.
Paula White.
Nobody officially briefed the pastors. Some of them are even walking back on it. And I get it. It came off like, oh no, it's about to be crazy. Oh, and by the way, what they did declassify was like, we've seen worse things that are probably real. And they're showing us images that like a lot of it we've seen before. It's nothing new. Is there something out there? Yeah. Is it demonic? Probably. But nobody got briefed on it. I think it's just a big distraction, not on purpose by the pastors, of course. But I appreciate some of them. I know at least one of them. And we really, really do respect our pastors, but I just think this was a bad move because nobody was actually briefed. I think it's a big distraction. Yes, there's something out there. Yes, it can become a problem, but man, the war, the oil, the battle between oil and economies and tariffs and gas and groceries and stuff that's really going on in our nation, and it really should matter right now. But let's get through this.
Tonight, we are honored to have President Trump's spiritual advisor and one of the leaders of the White House Office of Faith, Paula White. Paula, thank you so much for joining the Pulse this evening. I wanted to ask you about this report, and we'll show it right here. It says prominent U.S. pastors were secretly briefed by intelligence officials to prepare churches for the upcoming release of UFO files, which may cause some Christians to question how the universe was created. And then some people were saying, oh, Paula tweeted about this, and maybe it's so, bad, and we got to, they're going to say that UFOs and aliens are actually our creators, and Jesus is, a made-up construct. What could you share about any of this? Had you heard about any of these pastors being briefed by the government to be prepared?
I can tell you for an assurance, the White House Faith Office, nor anyone that I am aware of in the White House has done any briefings with any pastors on UFOs or aliens, none whatsoever. And honestly, yeah, I do have a few things to say about it because there's this narrative that just continues to go out. And the fact that they attach my name, I was actually talking about religious liberty when I was talking about some of the horrifying things of 344 million Christians around the world that are persecuted, burned alive, buried, and their throats slit, and some of the atrocities that we see and deal with while we're trying to really fight for things, the lives of Christians. And that was what I was in reference months ago. It has nothing to do with, and I don't even know how they put it, because I'm sure it's wrong in the first place, kind of like every other thing they put out there for the most part. But I will tell you this, because the subject is the aliens and UFOs. And what I know for sure is that humans are the ultimate object of God's creation. We are the highest form of being. And God himself is bound to man through his own son, Jesus Christ. And anything that suggests that it is higher than human beings is simply untrue biblically. We can look at John chapter 2, we can look at John chapter 4. We can see very clearly that anything that is against the Son and the Father is a spirit.
All right, so yeah, let's just stop there, because this is truth. We are God's creation. We are to exalt and worship him. Everything else is a distraction. Do I think things exist? Yes, but I don't think the government's going to be like, oh, this is happening, and like, here's all the aliens, and they're coming, they're going to destroy us, and we're going to start seeing them roaming the earth. I think it's a more spiritual battle, a spiritual thing than it is anything else. I don't think we should be don't be all hung up over it. I mean, the Bible is clear here. I have some scriptures. Let's not forget Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. This battle, really, guys, this whole thing isn't physical. It is very spiritual. John chapter 4, verse 1 says, Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. And these things, if they're not of God, then they are demonic. 2 Corinthians 11:14 warns us. Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Isn't it funny that a lot of these aliens, per se, use light? They are demonic. Matthew 24:24, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders. These things will show great signs and wonders, use physical craft, and surprise us all. But it doesn't glorify Christ. And if it doesn't, you should not be hung up on it. Galatians 1:8 says, though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you, let him be cursed. This is a powerful statement, by the way. The church should not be distracted and should not be afraid. Don't chase every mystery in the sky. This is what they want you to, back in the day, astrology and the people that worship the stars and the moon and all that stuff. I'm not saying that's what these pastors are doing, but we're paying attention to the wrong things. Church, we have to continue to be a voice in a dark world, be a light in a dark world, be a voice of reason and not get distracted by aliens and spacecraft. Now, I get it. I hear it. I see it. It could be a problem, but when you're founded on scripture, you can't easily be lied to. When you are in the word of God and you know who you belong to, then nothing can harm you and hurt you or worry you, because we know, like our wonderful friend Liliana says, Jesus is coming soon. And isn't that so true? He's coming soon. And I am excited for it. I'm excited because the Lord is so good, and he's worthy of all the praise, glory, and honor. And we should continue worshiping him and acknowledging him and preaching his word. Stay in the word. Stay praying. Stay believing and love God. Don't get distracted by the noise. And don't worry about leaning left or right. Just stand on the word of God. know that he is able, he is true, and he will rescue. We'll see you next time.